What we're going to do is be planting out a lot of our delphiniums. We need them for stock, so while we grow out of stock, sometimes out of pots, what we also need is to have some in the ground, so that once they've established, every 2 or 3 years we can lift half of the roots and take the buds off. So we're making little round circles of eased up soil with a bit of tilth on it in this established border. Now obviously there's a lot of root in here, but delphiniums won't mind too much. These are just roots from surrounding shrubs. We need to turn it over and get some depth. Do you want to have a closer look at this, Clara? Because you're standing back there.
It's okay, I can see the roots perfectly fine.
Oh God.
I can see what you're doing from that height.
So there we are. So we're going to dig over something about the size of a dustbin lid or a bit bigger, because we're going to put 3 nice big plants in here. 3 of our old stock plants. But the problem with delphiniums has always been staking them, and I have a different method of doing it. So we'll see how it works. What we're going to use is this pig netting. Now this is relatively cheap, lasts you years and years, and it's better than individual canes. Now we're going to just put it onto the ground we've dug over and put a couple of posts in. Now these posts are about 5 foot long. You don't want them going in too far.
Yep, just till they're stable.
Yeah, just till they're stable. Can you see from right back there?
Yes, we can.
I don't want this video bollocksed up because you're standing too far away.
Well, we've got about 18 to do, or however many, so I can't remember.
Yeah, well, I only want to film 1. I'm not going to have you standing there like a lemon for 18 of them. There we go. Oh. You don't have to be too fussy about it. I don't want to be in too far, because you want to be able to get them out again at the end of summer. Put your posts away. And what we're going to do is we're going to staple that up there. We don't need to have it staked from there to the ground, because they won't need support until they're about 1 foot tall. But there, that's what we're going to do. I'm just going to get 4 staples.
Run, run! We're waiting for you!
Bugger off! I wasn't bloody quick as I was.
So you got your bag of staples?
I haven't got my bag of staples. I can't open the twat.
Well, you need to prepare in advance.
Yeah, cheeky fucker. You're quite right, of course.
It's like this is one that I prepared earlier.
Right. Well, I didn't decide to film it until the last minute, because I thought it wouldn't be very interesting. Right, so all we're going to do is just staple that into there. I wouldn't even bother putting the staples in that far, because you want to be able to take the wire out. Put a couple in down here just to stabilise it. Oh, yeah. And that's all we do. Now we'll plant the delphiniums in there and it'll be away. However, I really should have planted delphiniums before I stapled the thing on. Just you just put me off that.
Didn't it over there too?
Yeah, but I've got to take that off now, haven't I? Because I've got to plant the bloody delphiniums. I'll squeeze them in there. Yeah, there we go. So that's it. So your delphiniums are going to come up through and then you can just let them flow outwards. If you find one or two come up on this outside here, they come outside the wire frame, you can just use a bit of twine and use it as a support. But that's perfectly stable. Once I put the other bloody staple in. Really,
Okay.
I didn't really think this would be of any interest, but the actual wire itself, there, that's nice and stable now. The actual wire itself, it just gets covered by foliage, you hardly notice it. We used to do something similar years ago for sweet peas, but I find just canes in a cone. We might do one of them in a bit actually.
Some people don't like to use up too much space in their garden and see all the netting and everything like that.
Well, it gets covered up. The option of not staking the delphiniums properly is that the buggers get the first thunderstorm or rain, they just fall over and you just end up with a load of crap. They are notorious for that. There are lots of ways of doing it, but this is the way I like to do it. I like to keep all the root balls in that circle at the bottom because of course we want to get in there to be able to get the crown buds off, not this year but the end of next year. And we'll just dig out a third to a half of it, have the buds off, let it fill up again, away you go. Bob's your uncle, Fanny's your aunt.
Very good.
Alright, there's crap all over there. Are you recording that?
I haven't used it.
Have you, yeah. One of the things that gets on my tits, and I have to tell you, and it's putting tools away with crap all over them. Right, just got that. It would be sensible if you weren't an old fart to actually plant your delphiniums before you staple the wire on. So, we're just going to take out a hole. Nothing too fancy. This is a variety called Royal Flush. And we're just going to wang him in there. I'm not a great believer in trowels. Do you want to get a bit closer, Clara? You can't see fuck all from back there.
I can see it.
So we're just going to put that in. I like to put it in with my hands. And I can't bear gloves when I'm planting. I like to be able to feel things.
Like a proper man.
No, it's just like...
I'm only joking.
There you go. I'm going to put that in there. Dig him out. Stick that away in there. So you can get your fingers right round it and get a bit of tilt. One of the worst things over the years is old gardeners that used to bury glass. So if you're in an old garden, you really should wear gloves. It's just I just don't like doing it. Now these are a later shooting one, and they're quite a weaker grower, so we won't get a lot on these showing at the moment.
So you put a few of plants in there?
Yeah, we're going to put 3 plants in each station.
And they're all different varieties, like we've got Darling Sue over there.
We will be doing Faust, Molly Buchanan, and you can just gently tidy it up Obviously you would need to watch out for any young shoots, so be careful doing this. I'm just tidying it up for cosmetic reasons really. I'm going to put that over there. As I say, some idiot went and stapled the last one without putting the bloody things on, without planting it up first. That was you, Clara. Yeah.
Well, you didn't explain what you're going to do to me, like, we're going to do first.
I shouldn't have to. You're a woman, you should be telepathic. You're expected to know everything. And I'm
Well, I just keep quiet, because you're the boss.
I'm not the boss, Clara.
Well, at work you are, basically.
There we go. Then we'll be able to keep an eye on these right throughout the year. So, if they look ridiculous, it's down to me. I can't see as well as I used to be able to.
Well, a very good fancy design. Instead of just putting a cane right next to the plant.
Well, the thing about these Blackmore and Langdon strains is that they're very, very vigorous. And they get up there six foot or so. So if you just put canes in, they can, well, they just look contrived. They look like a trussed turkey. That's it. Job done. 1 down, 17 to go. It's a lot of digging for you, girl. This is a poplar Canticans aurea, or aurora sometimes. Common name is the balm of Gilead. And it responds really well to hard pruning, which is what Clara's doing there.
Mm-hmm.
You all right up there?
Yes, I'm just trying to grip.
Nice secateurs those, Clara.
Thank you. I've got these. They're mine now.
They are Niwaki secateurs
Yeah.
from Japan, as is this ladder.
Yeah, I bought them all myself, thank you.
It's a fantastic tripod ladder and it's really stable. You can adjust the back leg so that you can use it up steps and things like that. You don't overreach on it though, will you?
No.
You can always move it to the other side.
That's what I'm doing. I'm going to do that in a minute.
Yeah, that's fine. You alright?
Get it. Yeah.
Are you finding them a bit hard, some of those?
Well, the really big ones I have to use with 2 hands.
Yeah, or just get the big pruners. If
Yeah.
You want. You're doing a fine job. By cutting it hard, pruning it like this.
I'm taking out all the dead. It's all dead.
Yeah. By hard pruning it like this, the new growth is beautifully variegated. Yeah, that's right. Almost white when it's new. If you don't prune it hard annually, it becomes just mildly variegated. We'll revisit it and you can see what it looks like later on. It's quite impressive actually. Carry on, Clara. You don't see many 17-year-olds with a sledgehammer. Come on, Clara, get your finger out.
I don't want to do it too much.
That's alright, that's fine. Let's get the other one in now. Don't fanny about.
I've done a few of them already. On my head.
Doing a good job. That's it. For somebody who's never used a hammer before,
Not really doing a good job.
you're doing fine. That's all we need.
There we go.
Just give it a couple more whacks, because that'll do. Oh, not me.
Sorry.
Doing well. Well done. That's it.
I like using a hammer.
You do.
Yeah.
We've just squeezed these in at the end of the day. Nearly finished. And the base of each delphinium station has been dug over, so we know that it's nice and healthy. I'm not going to apply it when we plant them any fertiliser. It's one of those plants that I don't think it needs fertiliser. It's quite capable of putting on roots and extracting what it needs. The pots are just waiting now. I've decided which ones I want where. The decision was pretty random actually. I just got Clara to fetch them down. And that's it. I'm hoping for a really, really good display of delphiniums this year. Time will tell. If it's a load of crap, it was my fault. But my God, I won't I'll gather the glory if it looks fantastic. I shall milk it for all it's worth. Not really. It should be fine. Good morning, Mr. Batty.
Good morning, Mr. Hockham. I shall turn the radio off. There we go.
Excellent. You're getting them planted up now.
Yeah. No cobwebs on me.
Yeah. Let's just have a... Unfortunately, they're in very big pots, those ones.
Yeah, they take a bit of getting in.
So, it's quite a...
Those posts aren't. That's not going to go down anymore.
No, no. Oh, sorry, I should have said. There's something like a big slab under there or something.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. This old garden has a load of paths. The paths have been changed, and we sometimes dig up asphalt and stuff. Cinders.
Yeah.
Oh God, look at that bastard.
I wonder if that's a cephalaria root.
Yeah. Also known as bastard.
Yeah.
They go right down them.
They do. Huh. Fun.
Yeah. I would like to be joining you, but I'm not allowed at the moment to do anything like that.
Yeah. That's no good.
No. Yeah. There's something very therapeutic about watching somebody else doing lots of graft.
I'm sure. Right. Delphinium moonbeam.
Yeah, that's the white one, I think. The
Yeah.
white one with a gold bee.
Just knock that. Just take that rim away. I'm going to give her a good loosen up.
I have a feeling this is going to look magnificent in the summer.
Oh, it will. That's one.
I'm not adverse to planting with the order of the boot.
Well, I'll be firming them up with the order of the boot shortly. So they tease these roots a little bit. Otherwise, with some plants, they can just go around in circles for a.
Oh, that's it. Look at that going in there.
There you go, 14 and oops, repair this. 14 and a half stone.
We'll edit that broken thing out.
Don't worry about that.
14 stone.
And a bit and a half. I know what you're thinking.
Pure muscle.
Liar. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how many delphiniums I know I did, was it 18 cages, and I think you've done an extra one, haven't you?
Yeah.
Teasing those roots out. Bit of a job getting that in, but it'll go.
There's plenty of shoots coming anyway.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I've done my bit.
I've done your bit.
I'm knackered now.
Take
I
it
have to go and
steady.
take my medication.
Take it steady at your age.
This is not normally how you do them because we don't normally have plants that are this big. But these are ex-stock plants, and that's it. Okay, Thomas. Steam?
Where his stuff, I think.
Right.
That's what. William just said there's a wagon at the front gate with a pallet of stuff.
Tractor.
Do we have? Oh, we don't have the van, do we?
No, we don't have the van. Go down and get him to put it on the ground.
Yeah.
I'll get John to come down and I'll come down with John.
Right,
I can't lift anything at the moment. I've got a problem. It's a blood pressure thing.
Oh, so I'll leave you get the tractor and I'll go see.
Yeah. I'll get the tractor rigged up. John, could you go down with Thomas? We got a delivery.
Yeah.
Please.
We haven't got the van back yet, though.
No, we'll have to use the tractor.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, if you just there's only a Christmas tree in the trailer. John just brings the tractor down. I'll go down there and I'll get him to unload it.
Yeah. Can you get over down there?
Yeah, you just jump over the wall.
Bloody hell.
Pop over the wall, yeah.
Yeah, best way.
I'm not getting my leg over the fucking wall. I just got an enormous. I'm going to get into trouble now for filming your backside. Somebody wrote to me, said I've filmed Thomas's backside too much. Well, I hopped over the wall. This is part of the driveway that comes up the gardens. It's a bank, and every year we have to trim it off, and it's a pig of a job. I think I've probably put that on video before. Yeah, because my trousers fell down while I was doing it. Well, they didn't fall down, they sort of worked themselves down. Fucking builder's bum. So, beautiful, beautiful bank when it's in. I must really remind me to film it when the daffodils are out. It's beautiful.
Yeah, yeah.
Thomas, I think.
Such is the pleasure of having a gateway for a horse and cart.
If you can take it back. Yeah. Yeah, we'll take that.
Thanks so much.
Time before you were recording.
Pink pussies. Salix. Mount something. Mount ASO.
One of them sold, so stick it in the gap.
Beautiful.
Then put it out.
Unusual little catkins on there. Or pussy willows. You're just doing that to annoy me, aren't you? So this is what came off the lorry. This is like garden centre patio stuff.
Well, not all of it, just the bloody cotoneasters. Everything else is classy.
Yeah. Well, they're alright. I shouldn't be sniffy about it. I can be a bit of a snob. I think you're just as bad, to be honest.
I'm sorry, I can't help being snobby about.
You don't like them?
I mean, look at it.
Well, you put that in a nice pot on a patio next to your gnome or something.
Next to your like mint in a pot that's dying, and your rosemary and your lavender that's dying, and typical patio stuff, isn't it?
I think you're a definite snob. You could put it on your decking.
Don't want that anywhere near my deck. Thank you very much.
So this is our mobile potting bench. I don't know if I've ever filmed this before. We made it up to go on the top of the trailer. It's not much good for me because apparently I'm a short ass.
Who calls you that?
Bloody monkey nuts down there calls me that. But it is very useful to, on a nice day, you can make up. Hey, there's like two people potting in tandem. It's really good.
That sounded very sad then. That was very sad.
Where is she?
Tying in a willow. Put it on a big tree willow and just holding it in place.
Oh, it was a lovely day earlier.
What are you looking so grumpy for?
I'm not looking grumpy. This is my normal face.
Are you serious?
Oh dear Lord, that's a really good that. To like maximum output. The terrible twins. This is nice to see. Some of these pulmonarias, lungworts, are starting to bud up nicely. In Holland and places where they produce them en masse, they tend to grow them under controlled conditions. With us, we just like to grow them as hard as possible. So many people come and say to us, oh well, we like to go north and get our plants because they're hardier. I'm not sure that makes that much difference, but it is nice to grow plants hard and not soft, and I feel pretty confident that no cold weather is going to knock them off. We will have to work on those ferns pretty soon. They're leftovers of last year and they need a bit of love and attention. These are some of the cuttings that I think it was Elizabeth took. We just plonk them out here. Most of them will take. you can overthink a lot of propagation. You can get too bloody perfect about it. Oh, I love primroses. Primroses are absolutely gorgeous, and they flower for such a long time. Oh well, that was that then. At the moment we've had a nice break in the crap weather, so I've been able to pot up some hollies. These are rarer hollies like chestnut leaf and silver vantol and hendersonii, camelliifolia. We always have the same ones, but it has enabled John to make a start on the borders. All the borders need sorting out every year, and John has a very special tool. Not that sort of tool, John. Show us your tool.
Well, this is a border fork, a little tiny border fork made by a company called Elwell, which have long since gone. And this one is at least, well, it was made in the 1950s, so if you want to work that out, that's probably 60 to 70 years old. But it just shows the quality and the craftsmanship, how they were made.
Nice thin tines.
Yeah, very thin when you look at them that way, but when you turn them round, they've got the depth to them, so they don't bend, and it's just lovely.
And probably a better quality steel than we get now.
Well, it would have been proper British steel, not Chinese. And because I have OCD, I have to do something that, for some reason, try and teach other people to do, and they just can't lift borders up properly on the edges, which just finishes them off.
It's always nice to have a look when the before and the after.
Well, you can see the before there, can't you?
I can see the before. I should start with the before the after. But there you are. Much nicer. Thanks, John.
Yeah.
So we're now processing old ferns. Well, Elizabeth is.
This is Polystichum aculeatum. There's a lot very similar looking, and a lot of the names are very similar.
They have very ferny foliage.
For a fern.
For a fern? Well, what are you doing? Crocosmias.
Boring crocosmias.
Well, they all look the same as well this time of the year. Not very exciting. Not till later.
Lots of nice roots.
Little yellow things. Adventitious roots.
Get some of this.
Carry on, mate.
Get all the weed off as usual. Anything dead. They hide leaves. One more. Put them into 5. Taupe.
Have we got any consensus on how you say that word yet?
I looked it up on Google.
And what was it?
Can't remember. I think it was taupe.
Taupe. I think there's a fish called a taupe. There's a pope. That's a fish as well. As well as a vicar.
Thanks for your compost.
It's going well.
rescue when they've got all the leaf.
Yeah. They do look nice when they're potted up. There we are. Look at those. Little beauties, Elizabeth. Just like you two. I am at the moment having a day off. Out with the dogs. A bit tight, things are hotting up. We're sorry they've all been a bit samey, some of these videos, but you know, it's the winter, but we're coming out of winter, and as you'll see, we're starting to get some deliveries in of plants that we haven't had, or sorry, we've run out of, or we just haven't been able to propagate. So it's frozen up today, so I've left the kids in charge.
These, if they don't poke my eye out, are Aces, Japanese maples, that are seedlings. We bought these in as this. Clear all this stuff off the top, right round there. We are cutting them back. To about 8 inches, just above the bud, to try and make them bush out a bit so they're not tall, leggy, bendy things. And they're just going from a square 7 into 1 litre. We've done seed growing ones before, and a lot of them have turned out really nice. A bit, you don't get all the same. Tough little beasts, hybrid vigour and all that. There we go, and we'll leave them there for a while. Right, we've come to the top of the garden today to do a few bits and bobs. This thing here, amongst various other, is, when we find it, an alpine strawberry. You can see it spreads quite well. It's one of those things that you might get at a posh restaurant. You don't see it in shops because it bruises very easily. It's meant to have a very delicate flavour. Apart from that, it's really easy ground cover. And the strawberries are almost a bonus, really. So I'm just going to get in the back here somewhere. Let's see. I really see it. I thought that might be a bit of grass here. I'm just trying to avoid this ace. I think I've actually picked the most difficult way of doing this. I'm going to get them here so I don't poke my eye out. And I might do them once when I'm not being filmed.
Yeah, you make yourself look like less of a tit that way.
I can take my time then. Right. So we're just going to put a few of these up for sale. They must spread by seed as well because they pop up randomly quite often, actually, almost you could say weed-like. There's a load of leaves from this ace that's here. Once we get into there. pull these apart. Get all this old stuff off. And as with other strawberries, you can sink them a bit. I was going to put these in a square 9, but we'll see when we get down the potting shed. We'll do about 20, we don't need loads. But we can remove a bit, that's some kind of weed geranium. We can remove a bit from here and you won't be able to tell, so we may as well. Another thing that's up here is this strappy-leafed evergreen perennial, which is a Ciceringium. I don't know if it has a common name. Do you, Thomas? Common name?
Weedy looking grass twat.
Weedy looking grass twat. I don't particularly like it, but some people do because we do sell it. It spreads like a bugger.
As you can see.
Animal behind me. We'll get a few, I'll split them down. Again, we'll do about 10, just so we can offer it. It's nice to be able to offer things. It has whitey yellow flowers. Quite small. It is quite pretty actually. It's not a bad thing. I wouldn't say it was choice incredibly interesting, but it does well. It's evergreen. I suppose it's what they might call structural, which always covers some bases, or architectural, which is another one. And then I'll just show you what I did yesterday. I did a few more things. I took some of this yesterday and potted it up. It's an Artemisia. They're usually silver leaved, so this is quite a nice variegated one. Another thing that it's not the most exciting thing in the world, but it forms good ground cover in a potentially difficult situation. Lovely bright colour this time when it's lacking. You have to watch it. Part of the reason I've potted some is because it spreads. It was out here in the narines and it had come this way a bit and it was starting to come onto the lawn. That wouldn't really matter when we started mowing because it would just mow off. Actually it would look quite nice. So we've done about 10 pots of them, just so if people see it and like it, we have it on offer.
They're dumb enough to buy it.
It's a nice plant, it's spready. There's far other fancy things that die at a blink of an eye. It won't die on you.
When I'm talking slick, I'm ashamed because when I came I was. That's why this time I know you're in love. Got me up there with the extent.
Fucking noise.
What are you wanting?
I'm coming up to look at what you're doing.
We're doing delphinium sandpaper.
Sandpaper. That's a white one.
So
Very nice. Hey, they're well rooted, aren't they?
Yeah, they're alright. These ones.
We're potting up the 3s into 5 litres.
Right.
And then we're just top dressing the larger pots. So.
And those are all done, are they?
Yeah. That's what I did earlier.
Hey, they've got through these pretty quick.
Congratulations, you finished some more, yes.
I was going to say, congratulations, you made it up here. Well done. Can't collapse halfway.
So, no Clara next week.
No.
On a scale of 1 to 10, Thomas, how sad are you about that?
It would be unfair to answer.
I guess that's a 0 then.
Their absence would be noticeable.
Yeah, it'll be.
Yes.
Everybody will be so
I'll leave it at that.
Everybody miserable and they'll swear more than
Swear?
you swear.
Nobody swears it, I do not.
Well.
Hey, look at Helen over there doing them pots. I could have danced all night. I could have danced all night. I'm going to turn this off now.
To get that clump out under the tree, and I've got a big mat of alpine strawberries. Fragaria, what was it, Malcolm? Can you remember?
No.
Nope, doesn't really matter.
Fragaria.
Can you remember, Thomas?
No,
It was Fragaria something.
alpine strawberry. That's all neat.
So there's quite a few here actually. We'll separate them off. You can see that's very strawberry like if you know strawberries.
You just keep it still for a minute. So
Sorry.
yeah, you can see a typical sort of strawberry leaf.
We are actually getting an ornamental strawberry in this year as well.
The red one?
Yes, I think it's red. You can get. We had it a few years ago. So
Called Pink Panda.
it's called Pink Panda, yeah.
It's that red.
So I'm going to pop these in. I'll just do one now. Square 9. They don't look very rooty, but if they're anything like the proper strawberries, they root from practically nothing when you do runners and stuff. Oh, I've done before. So, just trying to work out what's root and what's old. That's just old. Because the roots can be quite black. It's sometimes hard to see.
You can put them quite well down.
Put them in here. It's probably worth taking them leaves off. There's leaves there. There we go, and we'll let them grow in and then probably just sell them in these. The other Ciceringium, they haven't.
Ciceringium striatum.
That's it.
Do you not
Common
like
name? Do you know?
it? No.
No?
Anyone know the common name of this thing?
I gave it a different one when we were talking about it earlier.
Did you?
I think it's something. Is it something to do with straw?
I don't know.
It's in our brain somewhere for some reason.
I'll put it on as a subtitle.
I've actually not got that much root off with these, so I don't know. Would you cut them back, Malcolm?
I would probably just
I've got some scissors.
like a yeah.
Just like an iris.
Yeah.
They've not got a lot of root, so we'll reduce the areas losing water at the top.
Yeah. It's just to cut down on the punchy way of saying it is transpiration.
Take my old label off.
It's a plant form of sweating.
I am with all these plants.
Yeah, well, you be careful you don't split your puffer running around on them, digging them things out.
It's very cold here when you stood still, but when you start moving, you can get a bit warm. So I don't think there's any point putting these in more than a 1 litre, which is what this is. We'll pot them up eventually if they were to grow into these and someone had spotted ours and liked them. It is quite a pretty flower.
Is it?
Yeah, there's worse.
It spreads around all over the place, seeds everywhere.
Yeah, we've showed that.
Have you?
So they're there. If anyone's seen
You're
them
on
in the
the ball then.
gardens and likes them, they're available. We usually sell 10 or so a year.
We do get asked for it.
Yeah, it's nice to have things. Everyone has different tastes
Yeah.
in everything. If we're all the same, life would be boring.
What do you reckon of that then?
It's a lot of shite. You're buying Ciceringium, seek help.
We have bought it before, I think, haven't we?
We bought one called Aunt May, which was a variegated one, and the bastards all died. And then we tried it again the next year, and the bastards all died again.
We've killed this one before.
Have we?
We're really selling it now, aren't we?
Didn't realise
We're really selling
I'm
it
still
now.
filming this, you
I
know.
thought
It's a fantastic plant, bone hardy, grows everywhere. They're not eating moss, you know. See now him, that's why he's lost half his teeth. He does that round trees, he tears the roots out. He pulls away at them. Who's in there, Tuck? Look at him. Daft as a bag of bollocks.